The fact is that South Korean giant is into 80 different businesses. Samsung's branch that actually built these iconic buildings. Apple's iPhone and many other Apple devices ran on Samsung's chips. Did you know that as an Apple fanboy? Samsung also has its very own military department. Hey guys, this is Prashant from TechLodo and today we have a very special video. This video is about Samsung's massive business empire, and no, you would not be hearing something that you already know, something that you never really knew. That is what we'll be talking about. Okay, so what really comes to your mind when you hear about the company Samsung? Probably the most obvious thing comes to your mind is that Samsung is the leading consumer electronics manufacturer, making popular electronic devices like LED televisions, washing machines, refrigerators, and whatnot. The South Korean company is also perceived as the leading smartphone manufacturer, competing directly with the likes of Apple. But if you thought that this is what Samsung really does, then you cannot be more wrong. That's because most people in the world have no idea how really big and massive Samsung is. To give you an idea about just how really big this company is, let me ask you a simple question. Well, who do you think built this building? Well, this is the famous Burj Khalifa in Dubai, which is currently the world's tallest building. And what about this building? Well, Asia's famous Petronas Towers I'm talking about, which is considered by many as one of the iconic skyscrapers of the world. For most people, this will come as a surprise that it is indeed Samsung's branch that actually built these iconic buildings. I won't be even surprised if many of my viewers are even shocked to know this. Hence, I would like to repeat this again, that most people are absolutely clueless about just how big this company is. But in this latest video, we are about to unravel exactly this, talking about the multiple businesses that Samsung is into and how this South Korean company is in the league of Google and Microsoft, and what makes this company one of the biggest companies in the world. However, before we start unraveling the sprawling empire of Samsung, let us first briefly talk about its history and some of the key milestones in its journey. To know about Samsung's history, we will have to go back to the year 1938. This period wasn't exactly happy and prosperous times for the world at large. Almost all countries were going through economic recession, thanks to the Great Depression of 1930s, and also because the world was heading towards World War II. Amid these tough times, a little-known businessman, Lee Chul, founded a company called Samsung in a small Korean town. Samsung started as a small trading company that dealt in wholesale trading of dried fish, groceries and noodles. This little-known company achieved a pretty decent success in the initial years, and Lee soon shifted the company's headquarters to present-day South Korean commercial city Seoul. Well, by 1950s, Samsung forayed into insurance and securities, and exactly a decade later, it forayed into electronics. The first electronic device that the company manufactured was a 13-inch black and white television. Back then, Samsung's black and white TV sold like a hot cake, and the company achieved instant success with its first electronic product. Encouraged by its success, Samsung launched its first ever computer in 1983. Back then, many experts claimed that Samsung's PCs were much more advanced than the Windows PCs. And just like its television, Samsung's computer also achieved a massive success. By 1990s, Samsung had become a clear market leader in several key businesses, and this meant that the company had now become a truly multinational company. Besides, since the early 19s and throughout the next decade, Samsung has been consistently achieving key milestones. In several businesses, transforming the company into one of the most versatile and innovative companies in the corporate history. For instance, since 1993, Samsung has been the largest manufacturer of semiconductor chips in the world. In fact, until 2014, Apple's iPhone and many other Apple devices ran on Samsung's chips. Did you know that as an Apple fanboy? In addition to this, since 2011, Samsung has become the world's largest smartphone manufacturer. And wait, we are not done yet. Samsung is also the largest television manufacturer in the world, including the largest manufacturer of LCD panel, and today has over 90% of market share in the AMOLED screen market. Well, this company equally happens to be one of the top spenders in the R&D segment, spending nearly $16 to $20 billion annually. It has 14 overseas R&D centers in 12 different countries worldwide and 7 global AI centers. And here is another surprising thing about Samsung. The South Korean company is one of the largest employers in the world. It employs nearly 3 million workers and employees worldwide, more than tech giants like Google, Apple or Microsoft. Most people think that Samsung is only involved in the manufacturing and electronic devices and smartphones. But the fact is that South Korean giant is into 80 different businesses, making it one of the most diversified conglomerates in the world. There's a long list of Samsung affiliated companies and their diverse businesses. Under the category of engineering and construction, they have Samsung Engineering and Construction and Samsung Heavy Industries. Under finance category, Samsung has affiliated companies like Samsung Life Insurance, Samsung Fire and Marine Insurance, Samsung Securities. And the company is also heavily invested in the chemical businesses. As a matter of fact, Samsung Chemical is the largest plastic PE-related products such as zipper bags, sanitary bags, roll bags and sanitary gloves. In addition to this, Samsung also manufactures lithium batteries and renewable energy products under the company Samsung SDI. The company also has substantial interest in the pharmaceutical business, and this business is catered by two of its affiliate companies, Samsung Biologics and Samsung Bioepis. Furthermore, the company owns a hotel and resort business. It runs one of the largest theme parks in South Korea. It runs a sprawling medical research center in South Korea as well. And it owns an economic research institute. Well, for nearly last 20 years, Samsung has been manufacturing cars in a joint venture with French company Renault. Well, this company even has its own clothing line under the brand name Samsung Fashion. Well, frankly speaking, this list can go on and on. Samsung also has its very own military department called Samsung TechWin, which manufactures latest military equipments including sophisticated military robots that today partially patrols the demilitarized zone at the South and Korean border. This is not it. Today, Samsung TechWin also manufactures a full-fledged military tank called K9 that is currently being extensively used by the South Korean military. And here's another very interesting fact about Samsung. This company owns one of the largest and efficient shipbuilding centers in the entire world. Operated by the company Samsung Heavy Industries, this shipbuilding center is 400 million square feet in size. Mind you, Samsung does not build regular ships. To give an idea about the actual size of the ship, here are some of the pictures. As you can clearly see that these ships are simply colossal giants and clearly showcase the ship engineering capabilities of Samsung. Well, Samsung earned a revenue of nearly $244 billion, which is fractionally less than what Google's revenue of nearly $256 billion for the same period. As Samsung's profile has grown, so has its influence in the home country South Korea. Critics and political analysts in South Korea claim that today Samsung has become so powerful that the chairman of Samsung wields more power than the president of South Korea. Well, these critics also claim that Samsung literally carries the South Korean government in its pocket. Well, in the past, the company faced repeated allegations that it has misused political connections for winning lucrative projects and tenders. Some even said that Samsung bribed the government officials for winning these contracts. But Samsung has also been hit by scandals in the past, which frankly took toll on company's corporate image. In 2016, Samsung's legendary chairman Lee Kun-hee faced allegation of being involved in prostitution and also faced the allegation of sexually harassing female employees of his. Well, notwithstanding these scandals and controversies, no one can really deny that Samsung has carved a very special place in the corporate world. Today, there are probably very few companies in this world that can match up with the might of Samsung in terms of its sheer size and diverse businesses. Today, many call Samsung as the most diverse and versatile business conglomerates in the world. from a small trading company that employed just 40 people to becoming one of the biggest business empires in the world. Samsung has come a long way, and its mind-boggling success will always serve great inspiration for future entrepreneurs. Well, this was this video about this huge conglomerate that we have known, and I hope that you now know so much more about Samsung that you never really knew earlier. Well, this was it for this story. If you liked it, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. This was Prashant signing off. See you in the next one.